Just trying to get things a little bit situated here. All righty. Yay. Oops, wrong way. I do not need to see. Oh, look at. Oh, I look like a sad clown. Ooh. Whatever. You know, it's because I'm looking down. How goes it? I don't know. I'm just rambling, talking to myself and talking to my computer as if it were not the modern world. I've got my cup of tea here, my very cute Marimekko cup of tea. And as promised, here I am doing a YouTube live from my travels. So good morning all. Good morning all. As you may know, ooh, burned my finger a little bit. Good morning, Mary. I like to see it when people chime into the comments, but it's not a requirement. Shannon Retrograde says hi, Beth, and hi, Cliff. So he's waving from the kitchen. So nice to see you. And Robin. So yay, this thing is working, huh? Here, let me do this. I've got some little mid-century modern fun behind me in my friend Tracy's house. Louise, good morning. And Carla Jane, yay. And Louise and Carla and Kathy, good stuff. Nice to see you all. I'm glad this is working. I realized when I was looking at my schedule, I've done some of the decluttering parties from here that have been a great success. We've got 2 more coming up this weekend. But this is the first YouTube live that I've done from my travels. I will be doing YouTube lives all this week. Hey, Kelly, nice to see you. So all this week I'll be doing some YouTube lives. I haven't decided if I want to keep my computer set up here or maybe I'll move it around. We'll play around with it. So here we are. Now, to me, I am kind of living between 2 worlds, between 2 ferns, as it were, because where I am right now on the West Coast, so I'm in Palm Springs, California for the next week or so. It is 8:02 in the morning, but my heart, I left my heart in San Francisco. Carla, I did not bring my microphone with me, so I'll just have to use the tried and true hand singing into it. But my heart and my soul is always on the East Coast, so I know it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, so much so that I have that still on my computer. So I love this. Barbara's got a plan for what she's going to use this time for. So Barbara says, going to wash the dishes and the cat food cans for recycling or reuse in our art classroom while listening. Yeah, so here's just something I want to offer to you. First of all, if you haven't met me before and you just kind of came across me on YouTube, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Excuse me. So I am here really to help you. I'm like a guide. I'm like a travel guide. I'm like your sidekick on a road trip. So you saying you want to be less cluttered, and I say I can help you get there. Now, here's a fun thing. I do these YouTube lives. I used to do TikTok lives a lot. So notice the habitual way, and if I'm talking, that sometimes I'm saying the wrong thing, but I will correct myself. And I do this to give you some help, some encouragement, some courage, some calming down maybe of the nervous system. If you think you can't do it, you can. But so I love this. So what I'm doing is I'm here to help you, to give you the confidence to remind yourself that you can do some stuff. Now, sometimes maybe all you're doing is listening to me and taking notes. Other times you may be able to do a level of decluttering that I call like surface level clutter. So washing the dishes, folding the laundry, any of that stuff that doesn't really require you to listen to your brain, feel free to do that while we are here for the next hour or so on this YouTube live. So use this time to help you so that by the time I sign off and I actually have to go and, probably put some clothes on, that you feel good about what you did in the past hour or so. Now, it doesn't even need to be the hour. It can be a chunk. We just did a decluttering party and talking about those 20-minute chunks of time. So maybe a chunk of this decluttering YouTube live you spend doing something, sitting down. A chunk can be there, writing, sitting there with your teacup, listening, just like as if you were watching TV. Other times it could be running in the background. Okay. So use this time for good and not evil. How's about that? Okay. So yeah, Kat Roby, digging the Palm Springs scene. So am I. Yeah. Check it out. Some cool stuff behind me. My friend Tracy has been gracious enough to let me travel out here and take care of a kitty who's trying to give me the vibe that I didn't just feed her a few minutes ago, and I totally fed her a few minutes ago. So Kat Roby has got her SBB, her scheduled Beth blinders. That's what she calls it. So declaring what you're going to do may help you get it done. So she says SBB to clear desks, -4 piles and many Post-its. And yes, hey, yo, it's Kat Roby. There we go. Yes, like the live. Don't forget to like the live. If you don't know how to like the live, find out how to like the live. And I love this. So Cheryl is saying she's happy to work on another room. Yeah, notice the chunk you've picked. You can move, you can decide. The thing is so much of this is kind of fun because you get to make the decisions. You're the one in the driver's seat, right? You can spend a certain amount of time decluttering the bedroom and then say, I'm going to stop. I feel good about what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go to another chunk of my house and I'm going to do some decluttering there. You don't have to wait. And I highly discourage you, frankly, from waiting till things are perfect. If you're close to the end, you might want to, get to where you feel like a room looks good, but there's nothing wrong with shifting gears and going into another room, doing things incrementally. I was talking about this on the end of the declutter party, just about how this approach to me is so much more sustainable, doable, long-termable than a lot of this stuff where it's all or nothing. I remember once somebody said, all or nothing thinking gets you a lot of nothing and very few all, right? So I offer to you that sitting down, slowing down, chunking down, writing down, as I like to call it, kind of like a really quick way to remember it, like all the downs, that is a more sustainable way of you to approach your decluttering. Your clutter, kind of like gaining weight on your human body. It didn't all show up overnight, though sometimes it feels like it did. And it will take a while for you to lose the clutter in a way that feels good and it feels right. Sure, you can try to do something extreme, but that may not have a long-lasting effect. Now, this really helped me. This idea that I am about to share with you really helped me. And I think I heard it from a friend who we were working on kind of coaching stuff together. And she was also being coached on losing weight. And so she said she really liked this one weight loss coach, Corinne Crabtree, maybe. I'm totally going by what's up here, not what's on the Google. And one of the things that I liked from that woman, and this is what I do, is like I pick something from that table and something from this table and this, whatever you have to offer. I may not love everything you do, but there may be something good that I want to keep with me. And it was kind of one of these things where it was like, think of something that you wouldn't mind doing kind of for the rest of your life. So when you're thinking of, trying to kind of get into shape or do something, think about ways that you could feel like you're doing this in a good way for the rest of your life. So if it's something like exercise, don't pick something you hate, not something you're going to get tired of, but what's something you can imagine doing a little bit here and there for the next 10 or 20 years. This is why I am doing so much more of like Pilates and walking and yoga and strength training now than I would be if I was doing some kind of HIIT class or something. Okay. So think about this as like an organic, sustainable, long-term way of maintaining a clutter-free home. Now, please don't get all freaked out being like, oh my God, am I going to be decluttering for the rest of my life? Well, kind of yeah, but kind of no. Okay. The heavy lifting, the literal kind of pile of clutter that has piled up and it's probably maybe over your head, the sheer volume of clutter that you have for a while, it can be something that you, sorry, I'm getting distracted by somebody's plastic bags in the other room. I get easily distracted. That it took a while for your stuff to pile up. And so it will take a while for you to declutter and kind of knock that pile down. Totally okay. That's how you do it, is a little bit at a time. The neat thing is, though, is we're not just talking about kind of like you gained the weight, then you lost the weight, then bye-bye. No, at the same time, what I want you to do is think about how you are learning to live as a slightly less cluttered person. You're changing your daily habits so that the clutter doesn't pile up like it did. I like to say it's kind of like I am so much more a merry-go-round, a carousel type person than I am a roller coaster. Now, both rides are the same. They go in a circle, right? They go in a circle and they have some ups and downs. Roller coasters are you let it pile up and then you work real hard to knock it down. But if you don't change anything in the midst of it, it will just start to pile up again. And then you have to, knock it down. Everyday life will generate clutter. Everyday life will generate trash and waste and things that are on your table that if you were having a magazine shoot, you would probably take away from it. But you don't live in a magazine cover, and clutter helps you live easily by putting the things that you use most often in easy reach. But not everything is something you use all the time, you know? Hey, that's great. Cheryl, excuse me. Louise says she made the decision. Remember, decluttering is decision making, as I try to make it rhyme. Decluttering means just looking at what you have. Sometimes the first thing that we've learned a lot about that in these declutter parties I've had so far since I've been out here, the revelation of, you know what, part of decluttering is just seeing what the F I own, taking stock, taking inventory. What do I have? And then after you know what you have, asking yourself, do I want it or not? And sometimes you can really like something, but if you have no room for it and you want space versus another thing, like you're making a choice. I could buy that. I could keep that piece of furniture. I really like it. But I don't have the room for it. So could I make the room for it? That might mean giving up something else. Or can I like it and still let it go to somebody else? So Louise has made the decision to sell a piece of furniture that I really liked. However, there's no room for it. And she's got kind of, as I like to call it, like the Cat Roby check mark and a smiley face. So she's feeling good about it. Now, I love this. Kelly Smith also kind of chunked it down, and we were just talking about plants. So in the same way, I got almost all my plants in less than a week. Set aside an hour a day before it got too hot. Yeah, I will be honest with you. Since I've been coaching and talking about chunking it down and doing a little bit at a time, I have incorporated that so much more into my everyday life than ever before. And two ways that I've incorporated that kind of setting aside a little bit of time every day to get a bigger project done is one was our taxes this year. One, I used to avoid because it gave me bad vibes and whatever. And I've practiced. I've gotten better every year. And then this year we got a new tax person and had the ability to chunk it down and to upload things a little bit at a time at the electronic portal. That really helped. That was surprisingly, it was like kind of quote, doing our taxes this year was almost a non-event. We got them done on time. We actually surprisingly are getting some money back. But I just offer to you, starting sooner rather than later and smaller just to get yourself started. Also, our basement, as many of you know from when I'm at home doing my YouTube lives and my coaching, that we are getting our basement floor refinished because it's in horrible shape, horrible. And like, we don't want to sell the house right now, but even if we did want to sell it, we couldn't sell it with the floor being that way. But what I started doing is even before we had the official date of when they were going to start doing, I went down and for a little bit each day, I would start bringing up some of my stuff. My husband, who I'm looking at right now, he had a lot more stuff down the basement, but he too showed up and did a little bit more. And this is one thing I will totally give him credit for, and he knows it, was not just blindly moving things from point A to point B, but going through a lot of his stuff down the basement and being able to make decisions about what do I want to keep and what do I not. A lot of what his were a number of things were CDs that at the time that he got them were a way of him listening to the music. That was 30 years ago. Nowadays, when's the last time we even listened to CDs in our house? And the answer was not too often. So chunking it down, slowing down. Kelly says she set aside an hour a day before it got too hot. Now notice the accountability and that kind of line of demarcation. I need to get this done before this kind of due date, or things could not go well if I miss that due date. So before it got too hot, because she doesn't want to kill her plants when it's outside, you know? So notice some of the things that are in the kind of destination decluttered toolkit, trademark, copyright, whatever, that can help you get started. Now, if you don't know where to get started, if you're stuck, I don't know, put something in the comments and I can help you with it. So much of it is going to go back, though. Those of you who have listened to me for a while, maybe we've coached together. It always, to me, happily and repeatedly goes back to the same principles of really calming down your nervous system, quieting down your brain, calming down your nervous system, deciding where you want to go, because you need something to aim for, right? Not just a whole set of tasks. Because to me, if you give me a list, I'm going to always ask why. Why am I going to do this? Is what I'm going to do going to give me some benefit? And if not, I may not do it. Or it may take a lot more for me to get going. Yet when I do see something in it for me, even just the peace of mind of getting it done low and slow, I'm more encouraged to start. Okay. So slowing down your brain, sitting down your body, breathing down, turning down the volume on your car radio of the unhelpful backseat drivers, turning up maybe something that feels better, looking outside and realizing, hey, the sun has come out since I've been sitting here. You can hear something. Get your senses involved. What's a smell you like to smell? What's a sound you like to hear? How can you use your senses to make your environment feel better, even while you're decluttering? Do you like to put on music while you declutter? I know my husband does. I don't. I like silence, There we go. Therapy Gal Sue says, good morning. She's slowing down her expectations and taking it chunk by chunk. Yeah. Don't expect yourself to do more than you do. We all move through the world at a certain pace, in certain times of the day or days of the week or times of our lives. Our pace is different. Notice what pace you're moving through the world today and plan your trip accordingly. If your car only goes 35 miles an hour, but you need to, and that's as fast as you go, you will only get to certain places in certain times. It becomes math. And yay. And I love it. Auntie Lisa Bopisa can hear the birds chirping in the background. Yeah. And that's because I have the screen is shut, but the slider's open. And it is early here on the West Coast, and the birds are they're totally singing. Yeah. Yeah. And I love it. And isn't that a nice sound? Like at the moment I can smell some coffee and maybe some burnt toast. I don't know. But it's the smells of breakfast. I can taste something, and notice, do you like the sound of the birds? Can you open up the blinds where you are? Could you hear the birds? Here's a fun thing we did is I have an app on my phone. It's the, I think at Cornell Labs bird one. And we discovered that it's mockingbirds and house sparrows usually that we're hearing back there. And it's kind of fun to know what, take account of what birds you have. So when you feel better, basically, you'll do better. When you don't feel well, you probably don't want to do anything at all. But so notice, how do you feel physically today? How do you feel physically? I'll admit I have a bit of an upset stomach because we've been on vacation mode for this last many days. So I'm going to take, I'm going to take that into account when I'm planning what I eat today. But I'm feeling I've felt worse. I could feel better. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make wiser food choices today. How am I feeling mentally? Pretty good. Pretty good. If you're not, feel free to get in touch with that. Like write down some stuff and say, this is what's going on. This is why I'm stopped. You're going to find out. This is what I did. It was kind of comical. When you start to kind of take notes of what your backseat drivers will say, you'll realize that your backseat driver probably stopped developing by like 4th grade. Whatever your backseat driver is saying to you that's stopping you from doing something you want to do, picture it coming out of the mouth of like a 3rd grader even, because it's pretty much what they're saying. It's a little kid, and there's nothing wrong with this, but it's kind of a little kid fear. It's a really basic fear of, not doing a good job, being judged that my job wasn't good, being afraid that I don't know what I'm doing, that somebody's going to say I'm doing it wrong, that I'm afraid to get started because it looks like too much and I'm afraid I can't do it all, you know? So notice, first of all, I always think this is a good place to start. I always look for the fear. I look for the fear, and instead of being some big scary ghost with brown, like what do you call it? Yeah, red eyes, ooh, big and scary. No, it's usually a little scared little kid ghost. It could be Casper the friendly ghost, but he's Casper the scaredy ghost. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid nobody's going to like me. I'm afraid I've made such a big mess that yeah, it'll never get done. Look for the fear. Look for the fear, find it, and realize that it isn't something big to be scared about. And then you can do something about it. And even if it is something big to be scared about, you can chunk that down and still do some things so that you are working towards dismantling the bigger fears. And the great thing is what I'm talking about now is scalable. This could be all about what's going on in the world. And it can also be like, oh my gosh, I can't even with my kitchen because I don't know where to start. It's so big. I don't know where things go. Shh. Quiet it down. Quiet it down and writing it down. Seriously, you guys, writing it down. Writing down your list of things you want to do. Writing down the things where you're stuck. Getting your thoughts out of your head down. It's another down onto paper can help you just sort out what you have. Part of what we do when we're decluttering is we look for what we have and we sort it out into like items. We see what we have, and it's so much easier to deal with something. Like, can you imagine trying to declutter your closet without ever opening the door? Well, I know what's in there, and I could do this and I could do that, but unless you're in it, unless you are seeing what you have, it's pretty difficult. That's kind of the same way of writing down your thoughts. You can't see your thoughts in your head. You can hear them for like a split second. But if you never open the door and start to see what you have by writing it down so you literally can see it on the paper down in front of you, writing it down makes it so much easier. There we go. Oh, fun. One of the things Kat Roby found in her pile, a birding checklist from our Tucson Botanical Garden. She loves the Cornell app. Yeah, I love it too. It is fun. We have friends that I visit in Massachusetts who every morning they have their coffee and they sit inside if it's too cold or outside on their little deck and they actually count the birds. And they're the ones that told me about that app and it works for me. So I suggest you use it too. What kind of birds do you have in your neighborhood? It's kind of fun. So quieting down, sitting down, chunking down, and seriously, just being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself, not beating yourself up. Not beating yourself up. Beating up is here, kind is here. Fear is here, kindness is here. Love is here, fear is here. Discouragingness is over here. Courage is over here. And courage is not big. Courage is not, oh, look, I slayed the dragon. Sometimes it's showing up to your local meeting. Sometimes it's showing up for yourself at the sink of dirty dishes and not making a big deal of the fact that you got to clean the dishes, So courage, love, curiosity. Yeah, curiosity. That's a really good headspace to be in. That to me is the opposite of judgment. If you are judging yourself, you're shutting yourself down to figuring out how things got the way they did. But when you quiet down the judge in the back seat, here come the judge, here come the judge. When you quiet down that judge in the back seat, then you open up your brain and your ears and your heart to curiosity. How did that get there? Oh, I must have put it there. Why did I put it there as opposed to somewhere else? Oh, well, I was running in the house and I just dropped it. Okay. Does it have a home? Yeah, it does. Could I now put it in its home? Yeah, I could. Am I going to? Sure. Why the hell not? So curiosity, chunking it down, love, having fun, To me, that is so much more a sustainable. I mean, wouldn't you want to live a life like that? That's fun and full of love, and you get some stuff done. I am definitely not of the camp that all you do is lay down on your lawn chair. But there's time in your days to do both. It's like excuse me, nose is itchy. Uh it's like conjunction junction. Instead of or, I could do this or that. That's black or white. We're going to be black and white in all the shades of gray or all the colors of the rainbow. You can take time in your day to declutter and lay down outside in the patio. You know, you can take some time to declutter and go visit a friend and go to the grocery store. You know, it's not an I got to spend the whole weekend decluttering. And the more that you do that, and the more you get your home to feeling kind of that set point of just right for you, man, it's like then you get onto this, just the little bumps of just everyday living. And it's so much easier. You spend a fraction, once you have decluttered real big, and you've done it in this way that you're also not recluttering as you're decluttering. Is anybody here recluttering as you're decluttering? Once you get it down to a look and a feel and a function that it works for you, then it's just daily maintenance, maintaining that speed, cruising along, cruise control, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, 5-10 minutes, I'm good. And then you have even more time to go hang on the patio or, kick the world's ass, Yeah. Yeah. And here's a good thing. Kat Roby is saying, I love planning a bath or a hammock time. Destination, I'm earning my bath or my hammock time by doing these things, because she's learned. Otherwise, I find that I'll keep on working on things that will never not be there for my attention. Yes, you will. The more you look, just in general, the more you look, the more you will see. So if you keep on looking for things to work on, oh, hell's a poppin', you're going to find them. So learning how to shift gears and put on the brakes and say, this was good for decluttering, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to do like hang on the hammock. That shifting gears skill, like in your car, is one that is worth practicing. It can make it easy for you to shift gears if you set your timer or say, I'm going to do this for this amount, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to get on the hammock, So find something good to aim for to help you get through the less, just the more mundane things. Decluttering is not really a joy-filled process, except sometimes you're like, ta-da, the place looks great, right? Yeah, and there will always be something in front of you. They will never not go away. So it's at the point when you say, what's the level that I'm good enough at? And I will stop, and then I'll go do something else. Okay. Yeah, Robin, I love this. I'm so tired from having 3 Easter celebrations over the weekend that I had to prepare for. My list got rearranged to rest being number 1. Yes, notice when you say to yourself, how am I feeling physically? Your answer is wicked tired. Okay, noted. What can we do with today's schedule to allow time for rest and even the things we have to do? Is there something that I can do that is easy so I'm still getting up and moving around? Not all or nothing, like flat out for the whole time, Oh, Carla, and oh, honey bunch. All right. And I will share with you that paying attention and just like your gas tank, keeping an eye on how many gallons you have left and how far you can go, and stopping and filling up sooner rather than later is so much better for your car, so much better for you physically and mentally. And sometimes it is a lesson that you may need to learn over and over again. Carla, she says she knows better, but she's still not doing it. She hasn't been to bed yet, the silly goose. Now, luckily, yes, it's 11:30. I highly recommend Carla. She's about to go to bed, a yuck couple of days. Now I got to have a come to Jesus with myself and get back on track. Yeah. So notice, old habits can die hard. And we're not trying to kill them. We're just trying to fade them out. but your habit of running yourself into the ground can be strong because you've done that a heck of a lot more than you have hung out with me who's saying, take it like low and slow. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to have to take a bed day today. And notice when you take a bed day, this is what I think about road trip wise. If you drive for an entire day, and then you need to spend a day to recover, you could have driven half a day here and half a day there and gotten to your destination in feeling better. Now, again, I can say a lot and it can make sense up in the brain, but there can be a disconnect between what's going on in your head and kind of what's going on in your heart or your nervous system. And I often go through, what is the fear? What is the story that I'm telling myself that is saying, don't stop, keep on going, even when I'm exhausted? Yeah. Okay. So Carla says, I let someone else drive for me this weekend and I kicked them out of the car. Yeah. Notice when you give somebody else the ability to make decisions for you, or you're in the passenger seat, they might drive where they want to go, even if it's your car. So this is why I say, always remind yourself that you're in the driver's seat of your life, of your car, and make sure that you're co-pilot. Make sure that the people you allow in your car, there are a finite number of seats in your car, and there are even fewer of them in the front seat. You've got like a passenger seat if you're lucky, and that's really all you need, because your passenger seat is your co-pilot. Your co-pilot is the person you trust, and I highly recommend that this be yourself. And then notice who the other passengers are. Are they helping you get to where you want to go? Or are they subtly telling you things to discourage you from going where you want to go and wanting to drive you in the direction that would be beneficial to them? Kind of like if you were giving a drive, like you said, okay, to somebody like, here, get in the car. This is where I'm going. They don't really want to go where you want to go. And they're like, yeah, but don't you really want to take a left? Don't you want to take a left and then a right and a left? Now, if you listen to them, you might take a left and a right and you'll get to where they want to go to, as opposed to you saying, no, I'm going this way. And if you don't want to go there, that's cool. I can easily stop and get you out of you, and you can get out of the car. You know? Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Anger got me to let them in the car when I really want to just pass them by and leave them on the road. Yeah. Notice how anger is an energy, but be careful how you use it. Mm-hmm. This is why I think it is still so important in any facet of your life to just think of, and this is why I call my coaching Destination Decluttered. It helps me when I get kind of all up in the thoughts and the loss to be like, okay, destination. What do I want? What do I want to happen here? I did that during our declutter party. I have my own destination a week in Palm Springs. What do I want? What do I want to do? What do I want to eat? Where do I want to go? Like the who, what, when, where, and why of it all. And writing that stuff down. And notice the people that can help you get there and the people that can't. Now, the people I want you to pay attention to most, though, are the ones that are inside you, your co-pilot and your backseat driver. Because when you learn how to navigate, see what I did there? Navigate what's going on inside you, you can just use that same approach with other people. You can lovingly say, thank you, but no, when somebody offers you something you don't want. And you don't have to make a big deal of it. Love for yourself is saying, no, I don't want your stuff that you're trying to give me. It's really nice that you're giving me first dibs, but you can easily say no. So notice that when you are in an emotional state, though, emotions, again, I just go back to driving the car. Can you imagine driving angry? The decisions you make when you drive angry. The decisions you make when you drive sad. The decisions you make, driving decisions when you're feeling good. When you're feeling 7-Up, I'm feeling 7-Up. When you're feeling 7-Up, you'll let somebody, sure, go ahead. I'm getting there. Don't worry. Sure, you can cut in. I don't mind. But when you're in a pissed off mood, you're not even pissed off at the car that's trying to, you don't even know who's driving the car that's trying to get in front of you. But I am telling you, I've been at those places where my bumper is probably attached to the car in front of me, because I'll be damned if I let somebody else ahead of me. my mood has very little to do, or it's not all about what's going on in that moment driving. It's about other things that are causing me to feel a feeling, you know? So notice how you feel physically and emotionally, mentally, spiritually, nervous systemy affects, it has a ripple effect on what else is going on in your life. Okay, there we go. Carla's going to get back to living. So she bought concert tickets and her son has agreed to go with her. Now, this is a big deal because she and her son have had, a relationship. And he is really seeing how Carla is digging out her mom's house and really keeping her promise to say, I will not turn into my mother. Teddy swims. I am unfamiliar with Mr. or Ms. Swims, but I'm sure you will have a lovely time. So notice do you have a destination for today? Never mind, like destination life, and I want to do this. Let's chunk it down. Do you have a destination of how you want things to look, how you want to feel, look, function, and feel? I would even start that. How do I want, and you may want it to be done. It's not going to be done, but how about better? How about better? What can I do between now and when I go to bed tonight to help myself either can maintain, right, or feel better? Or better. That's a phrase that one of my dear friends uses. Or better. Because why not better? This is good, but I'm always up for better. Yay. Yay. That's awesome, Carla. So Carla is noticing, and here's a really cool thing. And I was talking about this. We went for brunch yesterday to some friends' houses and a friend's house here for Easter. And we met some new people. And I mentioned that I'm a decluttering life coach. And one of their friends had been an organizer at a certain time in her life. And we were both saying how people don't get it, how clutter affects you, but it also affects the people around you. But also when you start to declutter, that can change your dynamic with people, So Carla is saying he was really great to me yesterday. He sees, and she calls it her Beth progress. I call it her Carla progress because I'm not there packing up all that stuff. She's doing the work, changing our lives and relationships. She is literally mending a relationship in Alabama from Pennsylvania and California, all over the world, right? Or at least the US. Yeah. So notice that your clutter and your way you're now approaching it may have, as I like to say, a positive ripple effect, Now, I know that some of you all who have been on the decluttering parties or have chimed in the chat on these YouTube lives, or maybe we've done one-on-one coaching or even just had a consultation, you may not just be the only person in your home living there. You may have, kids or mates or roommates or whoever, and people are looking at what you're doing in a way. So help them. When you learn how to do something better, you can share that with them. I am totally so not a gatekeeper. Okay. I am so not a gatekeeper when it comes to the things that I know are going to help you. I give them freely and generously and often and repeatedly for the encouragement that when you're ready, you're going to pick up what I'm putting down, as they say, right? I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I'm going to put it down in front of you because I know it's going to help. But I'm looking at dog and cat dishes right now. You may be afraid to take a bite. Is it going to taste gross? Is it going to be scary? I don't know. I will always put it down there because I'm not going to poison you. I'm putting down stuff that I know is going to be nutritious and delicious, just like some cat food. And I am patient because I know that I can't force you. I'm not into the forcing mode, but I just know that I am offering something good. So I love spreading the word to just share with you that you can do something about your clutter if it bugs you. But do it for yourself and not anybody else. They will get the positive ripple effect for it, but learning to do things for yourself and not feeling guilty or weird or ashamed, but taking care of yourself. You will live easier in a better, less cluttered environment. You won't be tripping over stuff. You can breathe easier. It will smell nicer. It won't be gritty under your bare feet. You won't be stubbing a toe, right? And you taking care of your clutter is self-care. It really is. You're saying, I deserve to live in a house that looks like this, you know? And you deserve to live in a home that looks good to you, that functions well for you, and that feels good to you. Now, this is the interesting thing about living in somebody else's house. This isn't my house. I am just kind of on the surface here. If this were my house, there would be different things I would do to have it function better for me, but it's not my house. But you are in your house right now. So notice where things bug you. Oh my God, seriously, write down the shit that bugs you, because we can start chipping away at that and it will make you feel better when there's something that bugs you, declutter wise or otherwise, seriously. But it really comes back to, you know, see, and I love this, Judy Dukes. I love it because Judy is saying, I was getting frustrated trying to get last minute food made yesterday. And my daughter says, why didn't you do what the declutter lady says to do and plan? She's seeing when I do things differently. And you're noticing it yourself, the difference between making things in advance and kind of, I'll use the word scrambling at the last minute. Sometimes some food is last minute because it needs to be warm and fresh. But other times you say, what can I batch? What can I do ahead of time so that I have fewer things to do when it's time for me to, make the gravy or, heat the souffle. But yeah, what you are learning from me, and this is why I take what I do so seriously, but we also have fun with it, can have a positive impact on other people in your life. Hopefully, ideally you, because right now I only care about you guys. But if it has a benefit and you're learning, other people are learning these good skills, I can't help but think the world would be a better place. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Carla's saying Beth doesn't just help you to declutter, but she also teaches you life knowledge and how to mentally heal how you got cluttered. That does matter. Yeah. Uh-huh. There we go. Kat Roby. Yeah. And Kat Roby says, decided not to run an errand that I didn't need to do. And I felt the escape of it versus planning for it tomorrow while I'm already out. Yeah. Notice when you are doing things, asking yourself, why am I doing this? Is this just to escape, or is there a better time for me to do that? I catch myself doing that a long time. Sometimes what I try to do is when I'm out doing errands, I will over batch them. And I say, do I need to do all of that right now just because I'm out in the car? Or could I do this much and then do the next ones later? Yeah. So yes. And yeah, I love this. Judy is saying, I did plan and get stuff done. Yay. Yeah. There we go. And Judy is learning. This is all about learning what makes you feel better. I'm not going to make the last minute things so I can stay calm. Yeah. So I would highly recommend, okay? I would highly recommend for everybody, anybody who just did Easter yesterday, if you hosted or you made something, write down notes. This is what we would call, and I know it sounds morbid, but like when I used to work in the corporate world, they call it like a post-mortem. Like you just did a project yesterday. Before you get so far away from it that you can't remember the details, sit down. You know me, I'm going to tell you to fold a piece of paper in half because you've got two columns. What worked out well? Write down, start the stuff that worked out well. Right then, also give yourself the opportunity, what didn't go so well, so that you can change that for next year. And then maybe create a plan for next time you do this. And it doesn't necessarily need to be Easter based. It could be anytime you have people over. This concept will work. And have that in there as a roadmap to when you have people over, starting early. What can I plan that's easy to make in advance that doesn't lose its flavor? What can I minimize that I have to do while people are there? Yeah. And Judy is saying, I'm not going to make the last minute things so I can stay calm. People would much rather have a calm and present hostess than a souffle that takes a long time and you're freaking out. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And Jade says, I truly believe that decluttering, cleaning, and organizing will make most people happy. And then you spread the joy to others when you leave your home. Think about that. Think about the difference. Two scenarios, okay? One scenario, your house is cluttered. You can't find something to wear. So you're scrambling around to do that. You open up your cupboard and you forgot to buy food, so there's nothing to eat. Your stuff's all over the place. So as you're running out the door, you stub your toe and you can't find your keys. Can you imagine how you are going to be feeling, not only when you're in your car, but maybe when you get to work or whatever? So that's a scenario. How the clutter doesn't look good to you. You're like, this place, and you're in your face, and then you get wrinkles because you're, scowling at it. Doesn't look good. It's not functioning well, and you don't feel good about it. On the other hand, again, how about this? You're getting ready to go to work. You know where all your stuff is. Your clothing is clean and put away. You know exactly where it is, and you know that whatever piece of clothing you put your hand on is going to fit good and look good. You open up your cupboards. There's stuff that's easily making you easy to eat something, that what you are eating or drinking is healthy. And it's going to be easy for you to then, rinse off your dishes and just put them in the dishwasher a little bit at a time. You go to leave the house, you know where your keys are, you know where your bag is, you know where you're going, and you're excited to go where you're going. How different does that feel when you're leaving your house? And as you look in the little window, as you're locking your back door, you look in and you see things that are all like everything's in its place and it looks good. And it makes you smile knowing that at the end of a rough day, you can open up the door and sigh a sigh of relief because you're in your own spot. I mean, notice those are two possible scenarios, right? And so when you leave and you're feeling good and you know where your stuff is and you're eating something healthy, how are you going to be when you're driving through the day and interacting with other people in their cars? Right? Yeah. Oh, what a great idea. So I was just reading what Carla said. I'm going to read it to you guys because this is really important too. Carla says, because my daughter-in-law had a family death yesterday, I was there for lunch and I was able to share with my son, which is a miracle in itself, she says, how I've been changed by decluttering brought to us by Beth. I was able to express to my son and daughter-in-law how I wanted my end-of-life celebration, her end-of-life celebration. Yeah. It's just another one of those things. Destination funeral, destination end-of-life celebration. What do you want to happen then? Just because you talk about it doesn't mean it has to be done right now. Just because you start to plan what music you want played at your funeral or where it's going to be does not hasten the event. But what it does, it gives a roadmap for the people that are going to have to plan it. When I was up in Massachusetts with my mother, 2 weekends ago, last weekend, I can't remember, I was talking to her about her plans. And I don't know. Okay, well, let's make a plan so we know if what's important to you and what's not, So, yeah, just because you have a destination doesn't mean you're going to get there right away. I have a destination of going to Australia on one of those lie flat, first class seats, round trip, maybe go to New Zealand. Am I going to do that like next week? No. Will it be years from now? Probably. But I look forward to getting it done. I look forward to having a plan in place for my end of life. That's going to be different from my mom's and dad's and makes it easier on my nieces and nephews who are going to have to be dealing with grief and making a plan. If the plan is already there, then they can just follow the roadmap. Okay. Now, Judy Dukes has got some dishes in the sink. Anybody else got dishes in the sink? We've got about 11 minutes until this YouTube live turns off. Anybody else want to do their dishes along with Judy if she's going to get up and do her dishes? Anybody want to join the little accountability? Judy, I would also even use this. If we've got 11 minutes now, you can see how long it takes you to do some of those dishes. It may not. There's that woman who's doing the great stuff on TikTok. This is how long it really takes. It is comical, but so truthful that she is making fun of herself because there's stuff that you put off for forever. There we go. Kat Roby is saying, I'll empty the dishwasher with Judy. So see, we can do things together. And having accountability and a partner and some people to do it with, it can make it easier. And you're going to feel better with less messy dishes in your sink. Yeah. Oh, oh, yay. And Judy Dukes is thanking Kat. Carla is saying, she's saying, but please let me share. And I know Carla, she says, and I am not over dramatizing. Beth can share with you, it has been a mending relationship. My son is learning to trust me. That's a big fucking deal. Trust is such a paramount thing. My son is learning to trust me because I have shown him that Grand's house, his grandma's house, can really be cleaned out. He's never seen it cleaned out in his life, so he doesn't believe it can happen. But Carla, again, with my help, sure, but Carla is getting it done. And Carla is being true to her word. Cheryl is also joining in on the dishes. Anybody else want to get on the dish party? And yes, why not make it a party? You know, get some bubbles going, right? But notice trust. Trust is huge. I learned this when my first marriage didn't work, how important it is to trust someone. And I'll be honest with you, trusting other people took me a while because of a number of incidents. Now, luckily, I get in the room over there, I get a trustworthy person. But you know who I started to trust that was even more important? Trusting myself. Trusting myself. Trusting myself to honor what I felt. If I had honored what I felt, I never would have been married the first time. But I was fearful that nobody would ever love me except for this guy. Fear got me to make a decision that I had to get out of further along. You know? There we go. Carla will empty the dishwasher when she gets down to the house, and then she can reload it. But this is the thing I want to offer, and I'll talk to Carla about it too. But you guys, I think you'll get where I'm coming from. Trusting yourself and taking care of yourself so that you are creating a way of decluttering that you can trust that you're not going to hurt yourself. That when you say you're going to stop, you're going to stop. Can you imagine being in the car with somebody who says, okay, we're only going to drive for 2 hours and then we get out and then we can take a break? And then they say, oh, no, I didn't mean that. I'm going to keep on going and we're going to be stuck in the car for 4 hours. How you wouldn't trust that person, you know? So Kelly has already done the dishes, so she's going to scoop litter and mop in the next 8 minutes. So there you go. What's something you can do in the next 7 or 8 minutes before I sign off that's going to get your home looking, feeling, functioning just a little bit better? Starting with the little stuff. The little stuff has a cumulative effect. But notice, are you being trustworthy to yourself? Or are you breaking your promises to yourself? I promised myself I would only do this for an hour, and now it's 3 a.m., and I'm afraid to stop. Sue is also joining in on the dishes party, you guys. I love it. But really, and I know this gets into, and this is why I always made sure from very early on to call myself a decluttering life coach, because there are some lessons, some valuable life lessons you will learn about being a cluttered person. And trusting yourself and bringing into fruition the life you want is really, you can practice that kind of abstract, overwhelming concept of life if you want to be overwhelmed by it. But it's a big concept, but it's scalable. You can scale it up, but you can also scale it down to say, where am I not being worthy of my own trust? Where do I not trust myself to do what I said I was going to do? Practicing trusting yourself. Keeping your promises to yourself. I do this by having very clear boundaries, and I communicate those so we both feel good about stuff. When you don't have clear boundaries, it can be a little bit awkward. Can you imagine? Because this happened to me once, never again. When I was trying to figure out how to coach, I was looking out there for all sorts of resources and things. And it's like, hey, I've got this free webinar. Come and sign up and join and turn in and how we can help you. Well, they gave us the start time. She never said what the end time was. So I'm thinking, okay, could be at 15 minutes, could be half hour, probably not 45 minutes, could be about an hour. Well, this thing ended up being a recording. I'm pretty much sure. And she never said when the end of it. It started going past an hour. I'm like, okay, this is not cool. This is eating in on my time. So I try to be very clear with boundaries. It just clear. What is that old saying? Good fences make good neighbors. Being clear with what you want. I want to do a YouTube live for an hour. I will start it at whatever frick time it is. It's not even 8 a.m. Pacific time, and I will end at 9 a.m. Pacific time. East Coast people, it's almost noontime. Okay. Then I could say to you, and I do this with the decluttering parties. I say, if you need a hard stop, know that it's 1:30. But if you want to hang out more, we can hang out a little bit. But that's an exception to the rule. Other times, things do need to be kind of a hard stop. And I want you to trust me that when I say it's going to be an hour long, it's going to be an hour long. You know, no more, no less. So you can then trust me that the show's going to end, and then you can pivot and do something else. There we go. Barbara says she's taking a break from the dishes now to take dad to a doctor's appointment, but it was a good effort. If you have fewer, even one fewer dirty dish in your sink by the time we leave today, you have made progress. One less bell to answer, one less egg to fry, one less egg dish, anything. Every little bit helps. That's why they call it steps in a process, because it's like stepping. It's the width, and you can try to step big steps, but what you're going to find is you can go longer when you are stepping at a width that makes sense to you can't see my hands right here, but here's 1 foot, and then it feels right to do this. Too short, and you're kind of shuffling. Too long, and you're like the keep on trucking guy. But finding a pace to move forward that works for you, a dish at a time, a decision at a time. There we go. See, Judy Dukes is dishwasher emptied and reloaded. Thanks, everyone. And Judy, just so you know, if I was to scroll back, that literally took you 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I love it. Kat Roby's dishwasher is empty, and she's got a plan for the day, is on track. Piles equals tasks at time. Excuse me. Tasks assigned to times of day. Yeah. Yes. There we go. Yeah. Carla says, I haven't done a physical declutter, but I just need a self-resolve. I will not allow fear, distrust, or anger to drive for me again. Yes. And you know what that really is? I'll describe this to you in the way of the car. Okay. They are not driving for you. They are driving through you. They are making you. They're like ghosts in the back seat that are convincing you to drive like they would if they could get the wheel. Anger is in the back seat. Fear is a big one. And notice how you feel when you are moving forward in the world with that kind of feeling. And if you don't like it, that's when we stop before we even start and we calm down the anger and the fear and the distrust. And some people are not worth trust. So notice that and act accordingly. But how can you feel better before you even get the car in gear? Do you know where you're headed? Do you have a map to get there? Is there enough gas in your car? I'm looking out at my rental car right now, thinking the exact same thing. When I get in there, do I have the keys? Do I know where I'm going? Am I going anywhere? If I'm not going anywhere, do I even want to get in there until I decide where I want to go? But noticing how you feel and acting accordingly and shifting how you feel. You can shift how you feel. Shift. You can calm down, and emotions are temporary. They are like those scattered rainstorms. They are not like the long-term 40 days and 40 nights it rained children type of thing. Emotions are temporary. So I'll feel them. Don't tamp them down. Feel them and get used to them passing over you or through you like one of those rain clouds, and get on the other side of it because it feels so much better. Okay? No, I love it. Yeah. So Therapy Gal says, thanks, friends. And yeah, thanks, friends. Thanks for showing up for me showing up for you, and you all showing up for each other. Think of how many more clean dishes there are in the world because we showed up today. Dishes caught up for Sue and ready to fix dinner later today. Now I won't order in. Notice that's going to be a better thing for your pocketbook and for your health, I'm sure. Yeah. And Carla says the family here is something I've never had, and I love this community. Yes. There we go. Haha, job. Yeah, jogging. Not so much jogging here, but great job. All right. So this has been really fun. Thank you for showing up for me at the slightly later time for my East Coast people, because this is still pretty early over here. It's just turning 9 o'clock Eastern. Excuse me, 9 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. But just so you know, there are YouTube lives scheduled for every single day this week and 2 declutter parties on the weekend. I have to look and see what next week looks like, but it's going to be so much easier to plan next week now that I'm closer to it than I was last week. Okay. So this has been fun. Let's do it again, shall we? And I share, get to know people offline. If you want to send them a message, get to know your crew. Don't always feel like you are able to get together only when I connect you. So if there are people you want to get connected to, maybe you show up on one of the declutter parties and you get to meet people. Maybe you want to share your stuff. Just putting it out there that we are all here to be connected, but you don't need me to do this. That there is a crew here that can help. Okay, so I am going to end my stream. There we go. I'm going to say thank you so much. And then I'm going to go shift gears and, I don't know, probably get out of my pajamas. Okay. I will see you guys tomorrow. Basically, same bat time, same bat channel. Okay. Yes. And Carla says, y'all, please message me. I would love that. Okay. Carla, you get some rest today. Okay, my dear. All right. I'll see you.